In late 1864, Union General William Tecumseh Sherman launched a campaign that would change the American landscape forever. Abandoning his supply lines, Sherman led 60,000 soldiers on a march to the sea across Georgia. His goal was not just to defeat the Confederate Army, but to break the spiritual capacity of the Southern people to wage war. In doing so, he pioneered a philosophy of hard war, where the distinction between soldier and civilian was intentionally blurred. As the Union Army moved, they lived entirely off the land. Specialized units known as bombers were sent out to forage, but this often devolved into systematic looting. Soldiers seized all available food, slaughtered livestock they couldn't carry, and burned cotton gins and mills. The intent was to leave the civilian population with nothing but their eyes to weep with. Injustice in this campaign wasn't always measured in lives lost to the sword, but in the total destruction of the means of survival. By destroying the infrastructure of the South, the railroads, the barns, and the warehouses, Sherman's forces ensured that the suffering would continue long after the troops had passed. Thousands of civilians, including many enslaved people who followed the army seeking freedom, found themselves in a landscape stripped of its ability to sustain life. Sherman argued that war is cruelty, and you cannot refine it. By bringing the war to the doorsteps of those who supported the Confederacy, he aimed to prove that the Confederate government could not protect its own people. This psychological warfare, while militarily effective in hastening the end of the conflict, left a legacy of bitterness and poverty that lasted for generations. Sherman's march to the sea remains a controversial chapter in the history of injustice. It was a deliberate move away from the gentlemanly wars of the past toward the total wars of the 20th century, where the civilian economy and morale became primary military targets. It raises the haunting question: is the intentional targeting of a civilian's livelihood a justifiable means to end a greater conflict?